Hello and welcome to USTS, the Ultimate Sports Training Show. I'll be a host for today's show, Bob Lemire. And joining me on today's show is Alyssa Nazaro, and she's a candidate for Drake at School Committee. Welcome to the show, Alyssa.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
People are saying, well, it's a sports training show. And I say, well, yeah. And what better person to talk to about the future of our children with what's going to go on in schools with the sports programs and this and that. And we're going to get into that. Before we do that, I'd like to just let everyone have an idea of who you are and what you've done and something about yourself.
All right. Well, my name's Alyssa Jacobs Nazaro, and I am running for the Drake at School Committee. I'm one of 5 candidates running for 2 positions. Grew up in Lowell, live in Drake. I've lived in Drake for since 2009, so is that 12 years now? 13 years, I can't even keep count. I have 2 kids that are in the school system. My son is 8, he's in 2nd grade, and I have a daughter who's 4 who's in the preschool program, so very exciting. My kids are on IEPs, so I'm very familiar with that whole process and, special needs and different things in the schools.
Right.
I'm pretty active in the community. I like to volunteer at the schools. I'm pretty involved in some committees and events. I just really want to make a difference, and I want to see, Drake it kind of thrive, and I want the best for our kids, and I think that all starts with our schools. So.
Sure does, yeah. Both my son, my daughter, both graduated from the Drake at School system. Well, my son was Greater Lowell, and that's not considered Drake it, but that's Greater Lowell. So,
Yeah.
And my daughter, Drake at High, and now I have my grandson going into kindergarten next year, but he's in Londonderry with my granddaughter, and she's in Londonderry. But I've always had someone involved, and then I have grandchildren who are in their 20s and 30s. So someone's always been in the school system for the last 40-something years.
Yeah.
So I was always not involved. I never had time, 3 jobs, whatever, but I know what happened and how things have changed over the years, and they've changed drastically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot for the better.
Yes, we've definitely grown. We've improved.
Yeah.
We've, our superintendent's done a fantastic job the last 10 years. He's come in and he's really cleaned things up and tightened things, and we've added some really positive positions
Right.
that have become permanent fixtures, and we're hoping to expand and continue on that growth. So.
So you haven't been on a school committee, but you've been involved so much that you've kind of been like on the side, helping out where there's no one else helping out in a lot of instances, right?
Strong advocate. So
Right.
I've participated where I can, and I've been looking. This isn't a new venture for me. So
Right.
I've been looking at this for quite some time now. It's not like I just decided last August, so I'm going to run. This is something I've been thinking about for years. And I just haven't been in a position like my kids have, they have special needs. They have been a lot of work. We had a lot going on. So I really needed to wait till I was at a time and a place where I had the time to dedicate to this role that it deserves. So,
Right.
and I feel like I'm in a good position for that now. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I started thinking about it, and I knew that there were going to be 2 seats coming up this election, and I honestly didn't think that the incumbents were going to rerun, but things changed, and they did. And and then we got 2 other people that threw their hat in the ring, and now there's 5 of us, and it's quite a race.
Well, you're it's it gives you a lot of experience, and as we say, you have to be what's the tight skinned or something?
Thick skinned.
Thick skinned, yeah.
Thick-skinned, yeah.
You got to be thick skinned because I know I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I love watching the politics on TV. I've always watched. I've been in Drake over 40-something years.
Wow.
And I used to watch all the Drake selectmen meetings. And back in the day when there were no phone, I was, boy, thick skin is the word. They were at each other, and they do the same thing today. So I watched you on Drake Connection, and then I watched you on What's Happening Drake. and I was really impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Very impressed. Listen, because I didn't know how, and you handled yourself really well. They tried to give you a little push, because that's what they do to boys, because they're political guys.
Yeah.
And you handled yourself well. You know what you're talking about, and that's big. You've done your homework.
I try. It's important. You got to know what you're fighting for. You got to know the nitty gritty, because it's not just big picture. You got to know how to get there. So
Right.
I always say, I like to look at the big picture, but you got to know all the small steps to get there. And you need someone who can fight for those small steps and who can also make it very clear. So you got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to communicate clearly and effectively that people understand what it is you're fighting for and how to get there. And part of the problem I think right now that we've had in the past in Drake is that the people advocating for these things, they have good intentions, but they don't know how to communicate well to the public what our needs are and how to get there and how to rally to be able to get that pushed through. And we have a lot of needs, and it's not just the school system. I mean, we have needs everywhere. Our fire department, our police department, the whole town just, it's a budget. And it's priorities, and it's making our schools a priority.
Right.
And I think if everyone works well together, and we fight hard, Drake is going to be phenomenal.
So,
It's going.
and believe me, someone who's involved with politics, say not politics, but the school system, like yourself, or someone who's involved with politics, their whole life, they almost assume everyone else is or should know. What's the voter turnout in this
Oh my
town?
God! So there's 33,000 voters. There's 33,000 people in the town, roughly.
Right.
We had 2,610 voters in the last election. That's less than 7%.
All right. So
Decide our future.
7% vote.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think of that percent really gets into the politics?
Oh God!
1%,
maybe
2%,
two.
maybe. So, and I know, I'm thinking of everyone that I know who aren't in politics has not a clue what's going on. They don't know what selectmen do. They don't know what the school committee does. And so when we're going to talk tonight, we're going to try to enlighten them what you people do and what they should be doing to help.
Well, it's really important. I mean, you got really effectively 1 to 2% of our whole entire community controlling our population, controlling everything.
Right.
And I don't think they understand the impact of that. I mean, you people go out and vote. I'm such a strong advocate for voting. It is your right as a citizen of the United States is to be able to vote. It is not a right that everybody has. And you can vote in a presidential election. You can vote for your Senate and your representatives, and that's great. And your impact in that may be minimal. Right. I mean, your vote goes in and then it counts, and then I'm not going to talk about how that all works out for the voting for that. But when you vote in town,
every vote
counts. Right. Every single one. Right. My vote could be the deciding vote whether that guy gets in or doesn't get in. Right. You can't say that for a larger election.
No.
And that's why it's so critical, because these are the people who are making the decisions where your money's going. You're paying taxes.
Your money.
Your money. You're paying taxes, and these people are saying this is where your money's going. And if you want to have a say in that, which you should, even if you want to have a say in if you have to pay more taxes, because they decide that as well.
Right.
These are the people you got to vote. So, and we have absentee ballots. You can go, voting's Saturday, May 7th in person. There's 2 precincts open. So
Saturday.
It's a Saturday. No excuse. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
That's
It's open.
Right. You're not
everybody,
working. Yeah,
everybody votes at the middle school except for, I think, precincts. I think it's 1 and 6 and 6A vote at the senior center.
Right.
But
the senior center is closed, though, right?
It will be open for voting. I think it's going to be open for the polled voting.
That's good to know.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it's going to be
I know
open.
they're renovating.
Yeah.
So God only knows.
I think that's why they only have 2 precincts going down there. But it's, and you can submit an absentee ballot before the 3rd. I think it has to be done before May 3rd or May 6th if you go down to town hall in person. But, it's critical.
Now, it all comes down to funding.
Right? Oh, yeah.
And that's I mean, the school committee, you help with the curriculum? Is that am I
No,
no?
so people are so confused as to
That's
what
right, yeah.
a school committee member actually has the power to do, and it's not much. And people think that we can do so much more than we can,
Right,
and that's
right,
where we
right.
get into trouble. We have three roles. We work on the budget. We are in charge of the superintendent, and
You vote for the
we
superintendent?
well no we're his boss.
Okay,
So like we
okay.
do his reviews,
All
like
right,
we
all right.
decide, we don't control what necessarily exactly what he does,
Right.
but we're his boss. So we're like the CEO.
You hire him?
We hire and fire
Okay,
him.
okay.
So we are also in charge of policy. So those are the three things.
No curriculum.
No curriculum. Those are the three things we can do. So there are aspects. So like when you talk about curriculum transparency and people start going down like critical race theory and all those things, there's policy that relates to that. Right. So that policy would fall under our purview. But as for dictating like what your kids literally learn in the classroom, that doesn't come from us. But nor should it come from us. We're not qualified to dictate a curriculum. Do we look into and vote on accepting new curriculums? Yes. So like if we put a new math program into effect, that would be something that I think that's policy. Like that would fall under the policy purview. Like we would work on the budgeting and purchasing one and, different aspects of it. But as to what that math actually teaches, that's not our job to decide.
Okay, see?
Yeah, I know.
And believe me, when I say I bet you 80, 90% of the people in the town, not a clue.
No.
Not a clue what the selectmen compared to the school committee does.
Well, I didn't have a clue till I started really looking at it. So,
That's what I'm saying. And
know.
that's why someone like yourself should be, people should know that.
Yeah.
That you it's not like you're just walking in there going, okay, what are we going to vote on?
Right.
You're going to do your homework.
You have to.
Tons of homework.
Have to. And you have to look at everything, and you have to be open-minded, and you have to take in all the views of the public, and you can't just, everyone has their personal opinions, but part of being on the school committee is taking into account all the children.
Right.
And what's best for all the children and the community.
Right.
You can't just look at yourself and what you believe and enforce that on other people. That's not what that role is for.
Right. Yeah. So when you have a school committee meeting, because as I watch the shows, and I've never been to one, I'm not gonna. I've just always had two to three jobs in my life, always working, and your father the same way, and your mother the same way.
And me, I've got like 3 jobs.
There you go. So I mean, what happens is you have people come to those school committee meetings. Now, whether they're screaming, ranting, and stuff, are they have any idea what they know that you can do or what you can't do, or is it?
I honestly don't know. They should. I mean, they should know what our abilities are before they come in. But whether they do that research, I don't know. But it's it's community input. We're there to listen. We're there to hear from the community members. That's an important part. Like those are our constituents. Those are people who, if we can help them, we will. They email us. But mainly we direct them into the place where they should be going. Like, so if it's something that's out of our purview, it's our job to tell them how to access that resource, or how to where they should go to get the help that they need. But their opinions matter, and their opinions do have relevance to things that we do vote on and things that we bring up. And you'll find that when things come up, you'll see agenda items pop up on the school committee agenda, like the next meeting that address that if it's something that's within our purview, and so it's good.
Now you say funding and you people have in charge of the budget. So you decide in the school, all the schools in Dracut, you decide how to appropriate the money to each school and to.
In some degree. So Stephen Stone, who's our superintendent, he's the one that actually puts the budget together.
Right.
So we review and approve it, and we also fight for different aspects of it. So like we'll work with the selectmen to fight for funding from the town, and we'll look at different aspects of our budget in conjunction with the town budget. But it's not solely us. Like, we're not deciding, okay, we're going to put $1,000 in library services. We're going to put $20,000 in, cafeteria or whatever. Like, it's like that's not our, like, we're not going through line item. No, we're like the kind of the big brother. Like, we're the overview that like reviews everything and approves everything, and we're not doing necessarily all the minutia of it.
Okay. Yeah. seeing it's a sports program, we're going to do a
Yeah,
little. Just
right.
we'll get into a little of the
Getting
sports
into a
here.
little bit of sports. Yeah.
And this is big because I'm, especially the lower grades. Everyone should at least have a chance for sports, or music, or some kind of arts at any age, an early
Absolutely.
age. And I'm big on that because, boy, if that doesn't involve camaraderie, you know what I'm saying, with
Yeah.
your friends and learning something that you might love and have passion for, and how does that work today with the financing? But is that like thrown to the side, sports for?
Well, no. So we do sports. So I don't think we have organized sports on the elementary level. Which
Is there a reason why?
So I know it's a little bit hard. We have a lot of rec sports. So a lot of the elementary level, like I know my son
Right,
my
yeah.
son's about to play baseball and soccer. My daughter's
But that's
playing
not
soccer.
school.
It's not school. It's the rec.
Okay.
You know, and you know, he played rec basketball. They don't offer elementary school at that level, like K through 5.
Anything.
But I don't remember ever being in a school that did.
No, never. Not
So,
when I was.
No, and I think it's hard because that's a
young.
really difficult age
Okay.
to, not all kids like to participate in
Right.
it. You don't want to make it kind of,
Okay, so now
No.
grade 6.
yeah.
All right.
So middle school. So
How does that work now? My thing is because, like your father, we taught martial arts our whole life. And we taught everyone, and
Yeah.
whether you were really good or whether you were special needs,
Mm-hmm.
we taught everyone. How does that work now for the 6th grade level? Does everyone have a shot, or is it you're either really good or you're not playing?
no, so in Drake, it's sad, but our levels are really low for participation in sports.
Right.
So we don't have enough people participating that we actually even fill our teams.
Wow.
So they have to like get waivers for like the junior high, 6th
Right.
through 8th, to actually play in the high school level to meet some of our like
Just
team
because of
minimums.
population?
Because of population, but also I think we're over 800 in the high school now, so we should have it, but the participation rate is really low. And then you also have people that it gets tough because, unlike back when we were in high school, like when people played 2-3 sports, like,
Right,
my
right.
brother-in-law played volleyball. He was volleyball. He did soccer, and he did basketball. And I mean, he was
Yeah.
really good. He's in like the Drake Hall of Fame. He got inducted like 4 years ago.
Right.
My husband played a couple sports. He played, I think he did soccer and basketball, and he's going to kill me because I'm not going to remember what else he did.
Yeah.
Everyone played multiple sports. Like I did swimming, I did baseball, I did basketball. Now it's you focus. So you play, like a lot of kids, like they play baseball. They play
That's
play baseball year round. They focus on baseball. They don't
Okay.
have the time. They don't do basketball as well. So when you have a very limited population and a limited talent pool, and they're focused on one sport, you're missing. You're really short. I think we had like 30 kids try out for the football team in like last year, and it's 30 kids. They can't even fill a football team with 30 kids.
Yeah.
We had, Lowell had like 100, 75, I think. Central had like 100. Like it's just,
Yeah.
so, it creates opportunity where people who want to play get a chance to play. But
Right.
then, I know they were having we had a great sports season.
Oh, I know.
Our winter sports were
I've had 'em on the
yeah,
show.
Like
Basketball, girls basketball, and
Yeah.
lacrosse, and wrestling, and football team had a hard time, but
Yeah.
like you say,
they had like 30 kids.
30 kids,
So,
and they're playing against Chelmsford and Lowell
Right.
or whoever, and
Right.
they got hundreds. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, but they had a phenomenal season. Our fall season was pretty good. Our spring season is shaping out. I think our lacrosse team's doing excellent right now. But they're pulling kids. So pulling kids on waivers from the junior high, and I
Isn't
know
that
like,
dangerous?
Well, I
Like
don't,
football or something? I mean, you're
I don't-
talking the
Yeah.
height and the
I don't know if they're necessarily pulling it for football. I know
Okay.
they were pulling for hockey. They sometimes pull for track and field.
hockey ain't any better than football.
Well, I know. Well, the problem was with hockey that a lot of parents were upset about was because you pay so much money for
Oh,
hockey. It was like
and you gotta pay-
$750.
You got to pay as a
and
parent.
you got to pay as a parent. And I know we reduced a lot of
In
fees.
football, they don't.
reduced a lot of fees. Well, no, they did. It was just less.
The equipment's
Yeah, the equipment's insane, but they still had a fee, but it was a less of a fee. Hockey's the most expensive. It was at $750, but I think they just I don't know if they dropped it down to $250 now. We did some serious fee cutting.
Right.
but all that's a long story. All that comes
Right.
back to, we had some huge budget issues 10 years ago where we laid off like 65 people, and we had to pull money from different places, and it was
Yeah,
a
I
whole mess. So
understand. I know,
that
yeah.
goes to a lot of stuff with that. But
Yeah.
they, the waivers with the hockey was a problem because they pulled from 7th and 8th grade for the JV team, and some of the varsity kids didn't even dress. So instead of playing down to the JV team was full because they had kids on waivers from 7th and 8th grade. So I think some parents were upset with that. So that was
doesn't
something.
make sense.
So that was something that we got to look at going forward. But the thing with waivers is, like, I think from what I've been told, that the goal is, you can maybe get a waiver for 2 or 3 years just till you can build your,
And that's,
your sports back up, so that you don't need to pull from the
Right.
7th and 8th grade anymore. But we do, and that's a problem.
Right.
So we're not getting any better with it. And but Paula Chassey's been amazing. She's a really good athletic
that's good.
director.
Yeah.
She's been doing some fantastic things with
Yep,
our program.
yep.
So she's definitely great to watch. And right now we have I'm not quite sure what we have going for 7th and 8th grade sports. I know that we're adding tennis. So I think that they're looking to, maybe with the new school complex,
Right.
reconfiguration and whatever. I think the plans just came out. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. I'm
Right.
excited. I think they're going to try to add some tennis courts, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
Right.
But I think they're looking to add tennis. And I know we added golf a few years back, which has been really popular.
Your father would
My
like
father
that.
loves that, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's a golf pro, for those of you
Pro,
who don't know.
golf pro. Yeah. Bob Jacobs, yeah. Also a master of Taekwondo.
Yes,
so
he is.
as I was telling Alyssa, I got to get him on the show. He's
Oh,
perfect
yeah.
for my show.
He's got some great stories.
Oh, yeah.
So do you. But yeah, so, and then that goes to like the unified sports too. So our special needs sports, we have unified sports that we play, and we're actually pretty good. I think we have basketball, and we just started track.
Nice.
So I think they offer bocce is the third one, but I'm
Right,
not sure we're
right.
doing that yet.
Okay.
But I think
and
it's
that
something
starts
we're
at
working
the
towards.
6th grade level?
No, so right now I think, and I'm not 100% sure because it's been really hard to talk to people about the unified sports, which is
Right.
weird. I'm pretty sure it's only high school centered right
Okay,
now.
all right, yeah.
But that's something I 100% would like to see
To look into.
expanded to our junior high. I think that that's huge. It promotes inclusion.
Everything. Oh, yeah.
Everything. It helps with bullying. It helps with all aspects,
Right.
social, emotional. That's the goal of this program.
That's right. Yeah.
And they even offer it on an elementary level, but it's I would really like to see that included that in our middle school. I think that would be huge. It works hand in hand with we have our Best Buddies program, which is really great. And I think that it would be phenomenal to be able to expand that down there. And these kids love playing. They love doing the unified sports. It's
Right.
off season.
Oh, yeah.
You can get, they get a varsity letter. It's fantastic. It's, it's a great opportunity
Right.
for, social building and inclusion, and it's
And is the
wonderful.
funding different for that, or is that funding coming from?
So the funding's a little bit different. So I believe that the Special Olympics helps to fund for the first 3 years. So they give us money towards it, I think, the first 3 years. And then I think it's kind of funded through us after that. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think the funding for it is as extensive as it is in other sports.
And do you have people trying to get grants? Do you have a certain person going for the grants?
No, so we don't have a grant writer right now. That is something that I think is important. I think that would be a kind of self-paying role. Like, I think if we can get
Right.
someone in there that solely focuses on grants,
Right.
and it would end up paying for itself. But
Right.
that's
Because they get money from the grant themselves for what they've done. Is that how that works? You wouldn't even have to pay them, the grant writer.
well, no,
Or is it- or
I
do
think
you?
we have to pay the grant writer, and
Oh, okay,
then
okay.
we'd have to pay the grant writer. But the money we would save over these
Right, okay,
grants
yeah.
would more than surpass.
And they're out there,
Like
right?
a salary, and they are absolutely out there.
There's money out there.
I think right now, Steven Stone writes our grants and does
Yeah.
that, and he does a great job with it.
Yeah.
But
It's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work.
My
You can
wife
only
done
do
it.
so much.
My wife did that. Excuse me. My wife did that many years ago, probably for about 6 months, and it's extensive. And you
lot of work.
have everything in place.
Yep.
And you miss one little thing, you're gone.
Done.
It's not even going to be somebody else is going to take that
Yeah.
grant. Yeah.
Well, it's
So you
kind
got to know what you're doing.
It's like scholarships. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like a billion of them out there. They're hard to find. You got to know what you're looking for, and you got to apply right. So.
You need someone that knows.
Yeah.
And if they know, they'll go get them.
Mhm.
So do you, like, say you're on the school committee, how does that work? Do you say, all right, I want a motion, we hire a grant writer?
Yeah, so I think that would be something that would be like a topic of discussion that would come up.
Right.
So, and then you'd have to like vet it, and it'd have to go through all this
mean,
process.
it takes a
But
while,
yeah.
but
yeah, it would be something absolutely as a school committee member I could propose.
Right.
So,
is that something maybe
that would be something I would absolutely look about.
it just
proposing.
makes sense?
It does.
And why hasn't it happened? I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff to do. No, I know, but
Yeah.
see, the thing is, I think when my wife was doing it, she would get money from the grant. If
Right.
the grant came through, that's how she got paid. If she didn't, it's almost like a lawyer doing a suit.
Yep.
He'll get paid, and they don't do it that way.
I'd have to do some more. I honestly don't know. I'd have to
Yeah.
do some more research into it. That's definitely something to look into, because if that's a self-paying role, then
Wouldn't that be? Yeah,
absolutely no reason why we shouldn't
that's
have
right.
that right now.
Or a couple.
Yeah.
Or have people out there going after them.
Right.
And I don't even know. It could be something that I'm not, but
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
what I thought.
Schools are funny. Schools, they have all these like weird restrictions and different things that don't necessarily apply to other.
Well, it's state
areas,
state
yeah.
rules, state laws,
Yeah.
and state and federal laws.
Right.
Boy, you got to be a lawyer to be a school committee.
It's-
You got to have your
That's why we have a
homework.
lawyer on the school committee who sits there and like, no.
You do.
So we do. Oh yeah. When we do the school committee, there's a lawyer. We have a lawyer, town lawyer that sits there with us, and we look to him. The school
Yeah.
committee members will look to him and be like, "Can I say that? Can I not say that?
Yeah, that's
Can I
wild.
vote on that?"
Who would think? And is that something new, or has that been for many, many years? I mean, back in the
long
day,
as I know.
back in the day, anyone said anything they wanted. I mean,
I know.
I do, and out on TV,
I miss that. A little
Yeah.
bit.
I don't know. That's why I don't have that type of mentality. I would have no problem sparring someone in a ring and stuff. When it comes to debating, boy, I'm not going to do my homework. I don't have that kind of engine.
Oh, I love to debate.
And you do. So, someone comes up with a topic, you're ready, and that's what it's all about. And you got to be, this whole country is Democrat, Republican, or whatever, and no one wants to work together.
Sad.
We've got to meet each other, and it's got to start at town politics. You've got to meet each other. You might be on a different side, but listen to each other.
Yeah.
And bargain. Don't say nope. And if you say no to my thing, I'm saying no to whatever you say.
That's just petty.
But isn't that how
It
it
is
works?
how it works. It's how it works,
Oh,
but it's
you-
petty.
yeah.
It's like children in a ring. I mean, it's sad because you really do. You have to have the greater good in mind, and you have to be willing to work for it. And it's not about winning. It's about doing what's best.
Right.
What's best for our
Right.
kids, what's best for our town, and you can't. And there's all different sides to the coin. Like, you look at it, and everyone has their reasoning behind what they're running for, but I just have no respect for people that when it's political and it's about like helping
Them.
themselves
Them.
and them. That's just
Well, they're friends.
yeah.
And-
That's
yeah,
not me.
yeah.
I don't roll that way. So
Yeah, it's terrible. But anyway, so you're running, and by the way, I just got to tell you, I see the signs.
right.
Who designed
Means
your
I'm
sign?
doing my job.
You did your sign?
I worked with Roper Signs in Tewksbury.
Okay.
They are phenomenal.
You think?
He was amazing. Oh my God. I sent him an idea. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. He sent me back an email like within like a half an hour.
Bingo.
And
Yeah.
like, I was like, all right, well, how many signs do you think I need? He's like, well, I don't know, like this. And he's like, you want a banner? I'm like, oh, sure. I'm like, so I got a banner.
Oh,
So
my
I have
God.
these banners now. But he's like, I got them in 5 days. I was like, Feast to Print, who? Like 5 days, and they're great quality. And I was
No,
like,
I-
he took care of me. He was great.
And you just gave him a plug. Good for you.
He deserves it.
The thing is, and I used to print when I was younger. I
Yeah,
worked
the
for a print
t-shirt.
company. Well, I had my T-shirt
Boss
place,
T.
but before that, I used to print political signs.
Oh, you're kidding.
And so I did that for years. It dawned upon me, and the poor guy's arrested. So, but I did it before and after school and stuff. But I looked at the signs, and they're plain. There's no imagination. I looked at yours and was like, whoa! It's vibrant.
Oh, thank
all
you.
right, and it's red, white, and blue, and it's a lot of colors and stuff. It's not like
I like vibrant.
green and white or something like it. And not to put anyone down and stuff, but your signs are beautiful.
Aw,
you know.
thank you.
So and I see them on I see them all over. Your
try.
family knows a lot of people in Drake. It's been around for a long time.
You should have seen me one day. I was running around. I was running around, and my husband bought me a rubber mallet, and I was going delivering signs, and I'm like popping up in people's yards banging signs in. So it took me it took me hours. I was like driving around town, and then it was like then you realize the worst is when you realize that you put a sign up in East Drake it, and then you missed a sign in West Drake it, and you gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go all the way
you
back.
go all the way back down to the other
Jesus,
side.
Yeah,
that
because
was
you need permission. You just can't throw it.
no, you need permission.
Yeah,
And so, and I accidentally, I made a boo-boo, and I put a sign in the wrong person's yard because we had two people in town that had the same name, and I got the addresses, and they were on opposite sides of town. And I got a phone call, like I got a Facebook message, and they're like, "When are you gonna put a sign in my yard?" I'm like, I did. They were like, I'm looking out my window. I don't have a sign. And I was like, oh crap. And I went through, and I'm like, I gotta go. So,
That's what, and you're gonna have to take them down when you're done.
Oh yeah, no, yep. And those things are expensive.
Save
I'm like,
Save 'em.
those are going in my mother-in-law's basement. She doesn't know yet.
Yeah, 10,000 signs.
Yeah,
Thank
right?
you. People, they were. I says I gotta tell her how nice they are.
Thank you.
Well, you put some thought into it, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You're putting you're thinking of every aspect, and that's what it is. I mean, and as I said, people don't understand what you're going through. I bet you there's a lot of sleepless nights on what you're thinking. You're trying to think of this, and you can't. I gotta sleep. But I got an idea. Do you get up and write stuff though?
I do. I do my best thinking when I'm sleeping.
Oh yeah,
people
don't we?
People
Yeah.
like that's a really funny statement, but I do. I dream, and I and I think about. It's so funny when I go to bed. That's my time to really concentrate and think about what I want to get done, what I want to accomplish, and then I'll get ideas, and then I'll have like little thoughts, and I'll be like, oh, I got to do that.
But how do you sleep?
I try to sleep early. Before I had kids, I slept really well.
Oh, God.
My kids are really bad sleepers.
Are they really?
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. They're like.
That's no good. That's
No,
no
they're
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
like really
On
bad sleepers.
like their own.
Like
time.
I used to sleep. I could sleep like 12 hours, like the dead. Like
yeah.
you could send a marching band through my
Right.
room and you couldn't wake me up. And
I
I
know.
mean, now it's like I'm lucky if I get like maybe 2-3 hours without getting interrupted. And
That's tough.
they're just
Yeah,
they're brutal. And I look at them and I just smile and I'm
No, I
like,
know.
one day you're
Yeah.
gonna be a teenager
Oh,
and you're gonna want to sleep all the time, and Mama's gonna be in there with her foghorn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's and I had that with my son. He was not a sleeper, and as I say, I had 2-3 jobs. I used to
Kills
get up
you.
at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I had 1 hour sleep.
Yeah.
Then I got to do it the next night. And my wife the same way. We both worked.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get up every 2 hours. Well, anyway, he got into the habit. No matter what we did, my daughter was better, but and then, so that's what I'm saying. I mean, now you're thinking, you're trying to go to sleep, and you're thinking, oh, I can do this. Then you stay. Doesn't that keep you up? That's keeping me up.
Yeah, I usually it does. It keeps me up for a little while until I work it through, and then I'll usually I'll figure it out. And then once I figure out what I want to do, then I'm like, all right, I can go to sleep now.
Right,
But I'm really good about compartmentalizing. So I'm really good about looking at things and saying, okay, like this is what I need to get done and prioritizing, and getting things done in a manner like I can plan it all in my head.
Right.
So that's been really helpful to me in life, like getting through things. Made me really good at my job. So.
Right. Yeah. Now, so you've been involved so long now in the town, all right, with so many different things, and as you're saying, you know everybody on the school committee anyway. Right now, you actually you're not a newcomer coming in.
No, I've
You're
known.
like, oh, there's Alyssa.
Yeah, no, I've known the school committee for a while. I've talked to them for a while. I'm actually. I'm friends with some of them, so I've known some of them. They're friends
Right.
of friends, and
Right.
we've been at like similar parties,
Right,
and we've
right.
talked, and so it's
makes it
not.
good. That
Yeah,
makes it
so it's
fun,
good.
yeah.
But you have to be able to work with them, and
Yeah.
and they're not doing a bad job. I'm not running because I think that they don't
Right.
deserve to be on the school committee. I just have ideas, and I'm passionate, and I
That's it.
know I can do things, and
Right.
I want a chance to do them,
Right,
and
right.
but that's part of the greatness
right.
of the United States. I can run for whatever I want
You
to
can,
try and
yeah.
make things better.
And you're so young, which is nice. That
Thank you for calling me young.
you're very young. The thing is, so you run, And some people in this town have run for the last 20 years, and they, they, but your name gets out there.
Yeah.
So you don't make it this year. Yeah. All right, you keep going, doing what you're doing. I'll do it again. Now they remember that name and those beautiful signs.
Yeah.
And they remember listening to you, because now with the media, it's a lot easier. It's not the news, not the Lowell Sun,
No.
or maybe a radio show, which is all right, that everyone had to listen to back in the day. Now they can get you from and as I say, I watch both What's Happening Today and Drake at Connection today, just so that I had a feel of what was coming down. I could do it anytime I want. I watch it again if I want. People have that opportunity. So if they listen to a while of candidates, they're going to listen to, wow, this person is smart. This person has an agenda. And I thought, as I listened to you, I said, wow, she's got it together. You did your homework. It's not just, yeah, this is what I heard. No, someone asked you a question. And if it's a hypothetical question, like Mr. somebody the other night asked you, I love them both. I love Mr. Bogan, I love Mr. Zimini. And a hypothetical question on a mask. And it's like, don't ask me that now. We're through that. Or when it happens, that's when you talk about it.
Right.
Because that's so volatile right now. Why even talk about it? We're in a phase now. Let's put it,
Right now, we got to concentrate on our kids. We got to concentrate on recovering, getting them back to where they need to be,
Wow, what a year. What a year.
Yeah, I mean, what we got to worry about right now is, getting them back on track and getting them,
Both children
forward.
were homeschooled at the time.
So they were both remote last year, which
Not homeschooled, remote.
there
I
was,
meant.
I had a preschooler who was remote. That was fun. Like, you think having like a first, second, or kindergartner is bad? Try having a preschooler. Like,
The attention span.
oh my God, the attention span was like, we're
And
sitting
how
there
many
singing
hours is
rainbow
that?
songs.
How many hours did that involve?
So she did her preschool was like an hour, but she also had like speech and stuff like that. So they did that remote too. Alex was pretty good. He was in first grade. He had a phenomenal first grade teacher. I can't say enough about the teachers. Like,
That's nice. Yeah. That's beautiful.
His first grade teacher last year on remote was, honest to God, I think one of the best teachers I think I've ever seen. She was phenomenal. It was like he was in school. She was able to build a social classroom. He developed relationships, online. I felt like he learned, he grew, he was educated. She spent so much time with
Online.
him one-on-one online. And she killed it.
Some people
She
have,
absolutely killed
some
it.
people
She
have
had
a
a
gift.
gift.
A gift. Yep.
She has a gift,
It's a gift,
and
yeah.
and I'm proud to say that she was hired full time at the Inglesby. So I'm like
There you
rooting
go.
for her.
There you
I'm
go.
really excited. She, I called David Hill up and I said, we're not going to lose this one, right? Because I'm like, she is
That's
phenomenal.
beautiful. That's good.
So and we had, and all the remote teachers, they did really, they went
That's-
above and beyond. That was a hard job.
I don't know how they.
That was a hard job. But then you have the teachers that were in school that were doing half online, half at home. I mean, it's just, but everybody, it was a challenge. It was a pandemic. We haven't had a pandemic in 100 years. I mean, no one knew, like, when last time we had a pandemic, they had like group schools for K through 8. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody went to a schoolhouse. It's like, it was unprecedented, and no one knew where it was going. And I
How
think
long was it going to last?
how long it was
going to
last,
forever?
and I have to say, I thought Drake did a really good job.
Did they? Yeah.
They really did
Good.
compared to other towns and learning hours and what we were able to get out. Like,
How do you judge that?
we
How
excelled.
would you know?
So there's been some studies done, and they have some results that have been posted. And Drake, for in-school learning hours, I think we surpassed like all surrounding towns.
Right.
They talk about it in the school committee meetings, but they really did a good job, and it wasn't without its challenges. Like, there were lots of challenges. Our teachers have been maxed out. I mean, we've asked them to do everything from soup to nuts, and that's a lot for anybody. I mean, can you imagine going into a job and you're supposed to do your job and the other guy's job and the job below you's job, and and then they're like, oh, and by the way, and just do this, and you're like,
Now, when they did remote, did the teachers go to school to do remote, or did they do it from their house?
So some did it from their house and some did it from the school.
So they had a choice, or did they just
I'm
maybe
not
no?
quite sure how that was worked out. It was also a spacing issue, I think, too. So, like, you had to have classroom sizes at a certain degree, and they had to have classrooms for certain things. So I don't know if they necessarily had a lot of classrooms open for
Right.
all teachers to be remote in the school. I know that Alex's teacher happened to be in the classroom teaching remote, so
Right.
that was helpful. But it, it was just a very
Yeah.
different circumstance. So
Hopefully it's behind us forever.
I think it is. I think we're moving forward, and
Yeah, yeah.
you can never say that it's never going to happen again. Who knows? But
No, we don't know what's going to happen.
hopefully, we're a little bit more prepared,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's good. So
All right. So, what's next? You got a debate coming?
we have a debate.
Are
So
you ready? Are
all
you
the
ready?
candidates, I'm getting ready. I'm
You
prepping.
excited?
I'm very excited. I love debating. I think I made a
Oh
girl
my
cry in my
God.
college debate class.
Oh, so you were in a
So-
debate class?
Oh yeah, I will. So
I
got-
kind of thought you had some kind of, because when I heard seen you talking with Mr. Zamini and Mr. Bogue, as they would ask you a hard question and stuff, I could see you getting ready, and actually you'd sit in your chair and you're like, oh, all right, you wanna we'll go there,
I
you
get
know?
excited.
Yeah, you get excited. So the debate class, Jesus, they teach you all the ropes.
Yeah.
And
Well, we had so I went to school. I went to UMass Lowell. I got a degree in management and marketing, and in business management they cover like a whole gamut of areas, and
right.
one of them was like negotiating. It's called debating, but
Right.
negotiating. So and
Yeah.
I did very well in
Well,
that class.
yeah, you give instead of arguing, you give them almost an answer that they can't that they're not ready for.
Right.
I noticed that if you got a question that you weren't happy with, and it's a hypothetical question, a lot of questions
Yeah.
on what side of the fence you're standing on there, or whose side are you, and you didn't have to go there. You say, well, no, we will cross that bridge when we get to it, or give them an answer that they're like, oh, all right, I better watch out what I say. I better not get on that side.
Well, it's important. Like one of the biggest things with debating, you got to know yourself. You got to know yourself. You got to know
Be
what you're talking
confident.
about. You be confident.
Be
You got to
confident, yeah.
you got to be able to enunciate clearly. Like
Right.
you want to get your point across, and I think being very well spoken is a big part of this job. Like marketing. It's marketing, so it's being able to take what you want to get done and make it in a consumable manner for the public. So
for the public to
for
understand.
the public to understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So
because-
that's where I think there's a lot of disconnect and a lot of breakdown right now, especially in the town. I think that things aren't presented as clearly as they could be and as directly as they could be, and
Right.
people don't understand what they're voting for. They don't understand what we're trying to get done, and then they wonder why things don't get passed.
Right.
So,
What's the biggest thing right now that you think is it funding? Is that the
oh
biggest?
yeah, everything
the
comes
number
down.
one?
Everything comes down to funding. Anything you can ask and derive all comes down to funding.
And so what can we do to
So-
resolve that? Beside grants, which you're already that's gonna
Yeah.
that should be your big issue. We got to get some grants going.
I know. Well, there's so many there's so many ways you can go at it. So, everyone's like instantly they look at you and they're like, you say funding and everyone's like, oh, you're gonna increase our taxes.
But yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
no.
it's not about a tax increase. It's not yes, that's part of it, but it's not necessarily all of it or as big a part of it as the people think. Like, it's making our schools a priority. Like when you go and and I know you saw I use this analogy, but like when you go food shopping, you spend $150.
That's right. Oh yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I spent $150 in the market. But you'll go out to dinner and drop $150 on one meal and a
In a
glass of wine
second,
in
yeah.
a second. And
Yeah.
but you're okay with it because it's a priority. It's your priority. It's where
And it
you wanna
really isn't
spend
a
your money.
priority if you're
Right.
worried about your food order.
But like when you everybody has money, but it's where they want to spend
Right,
it. And
right.
no, some people are poor and some people, are affluent, and there are different levels. But everybody has any money that you have. It's a decision where you want
Right,
to
right.
spend it and where you think it's best needed. And you need people in our community, in our office, that is going to fight for the things that we need. So I'm willing to fight that schools are very important, that they're a critical part of our community, and that they need to be well funded. And it's not necessarily that, I'm saying that other things don't need to be funded, but it's a balance. But we need to make it a priority. So like, we have pretty sidewalks. We have pretty new town hall buildings and, new fire buildings. Don't get me wrong. We need, our fire trucks are really old, and every department, our fire department, our police department, they all need, everybody needs funding, but it's a balance. And you can't just forget about our schools. You can't just say, oh, they have enough. Oh, we spend net school spending, which everyone's like, oh, what's net school spending? Well, the state dictates to us Chapter 70 funds. So they dictate to us and they say, you have to spend so much money per student per year. So the state basically says you have to spend this. It's a formula. And the $4 million that we just got was because the state came in and said, I'm looking at like your medium income and I'm looking at your housing and everything, and you're not spending enough money on your kids. So they told us that we had to spend that $4 million, and they cover a portion of it, but then a portion of it has to be put up by the town. It's not optional. They came in and said, it's a lot, but they came in and said, you are not doing what you need to do for your kids.
Why?
Because we're not spending the money. We're not funding them. And we've always been in the bottom of the state. We're the bottom four. We're in the bottom four in the state for per pupil spending. So we spend 30% below per student on average from the state.
No, it's against the law, though. You have to do it if it's law.
No, you have to meet. You have to meet
okay.
with the state requirement.
Right.
The state requirement isn't necessarily what the state average is.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but the state average is all the towns in the state, what they are deciding they should spend on their kids. So like, you have, Chelmsford who says, okay, well, the state's saying I got to spend $12,000 per kid. Well, we're going to spend $15,000 per kid. So then that, gets taken into account in the average. And
Right.
then,
Okay.
the same thing. So
Oh.
that can raise the average.
Right.
But that means that the median school in the state, so the median school in the state is spending 30% more per child than we are. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, it would take us like $8 million to get to the median.
Right.
And you can't do that. You can't do that in like a year.
No.
You can't do that in like 5 years. You need to, that needs to be spread out. We need to have a plan.
Right.
We need to go in, and you need to have like a 5-year and a 10-year plan where we are increasing permanent funding to our schools, and it has to be permanent because we got into trouble 10 years ago when we were using grant money and different money to fund teachers, and we had to lay 65 people off because all of a sudden it's gone. And they swore they wouldn't do that again. And I don't blame them, because that's like, we almost closed. We took a huge hit. So, that's really important. Like we need to have permanent funding. And unless we're getting permanent funding, we can't afford to pay our teachers more. We can't afford to fund our programs. We can't afford to fund our special needs. We can't afford to do any of the things that people want.
Right.
Because we don't have the money. We have to operate, we have to operate to keep our buildings open. We have to operate for heat and water and, air conditioning and electricity. And
does the school, does the selectmen have any say in
so
the
the
money?
selectmen do. So they have, they're in charge of the town manager.
Right.
So the selectmen are in charge of the town manager, and they're in charge of the town budget. So, we're part of the town budget.
That's
So, and
fine.
everyone's like, oh, you're such a huge part of the town budget. Well, you know what? We're the biggest enterprise. So if you look at a corporation,
That's right,
we're the biggest arm of the corporation. We have the most employees. We have the most
Right, yeah.
structures. We have the most buildings to support. Like, so we should be the largest part of the budget because we are the biggest.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that
Right.
we're getting the appropriate amount of money that we need. And, and it's not about like just throwing money at the problem. Like, you have to have a plan. You have to know what that money's for. We have to know where we need to hire. And we did a master, I think it was like a master implementation plan or something, where they looked at everything across the board. And that's where we came up with the 27 positions that we're adding with this new funding. So they did a lot of research where we get the most bang for our buck. And
right.
these positions are going to have the most, effect on our kids.
Nice.
They're going to reach the greatest amount of kids, which is huge. But, it's something that I think we can totally do. We just have to do it right. We have to be in agreement for it, and we have to fight for it. And parents have to fight for it. They have to come out to town hall. We vote twice a year. Twice a year we have town meetings. Twice a year. you need like 130 people, I think, for quorum or something, and we can't even get that sometimes.
Right.
We can't even get that
And
out
if
of
you don't get it,
33,000 people.
what happens if you don't
You
get it?
can't. So we pass. So
You pass anyway,
we
right?
pass. No,
Oh, you
we
can't
can't.
without the quorum.
Like, we can't even pay our firemen. They don't even have a policeman. If we don't have that town meeting to pass that budget every year, so every year we have to have a town meeting
Right.
where they propose our budget, and everybody in the town's got to go aye for that thing to pass.
Right.
And if it doesn't pass, we can't pay. We have no police. We have no fire.
So
we
if
have
the
no
people aren't showing
municipals.
up,
They have to reschedule it,
Oh.
and that costs like money.
Until
And
you-
then they get really nervous because then they have to reschedule it, and then they have to like really push to hope to God that the next time we have it, that we have more than 130
Yeah.
people show up for it. And
That's
it's,
that's
you
what
know?
I'm saying. The percentage of people who are into any of that, it's got to be 1-2% of.
Oh my
of-
God.
Yeah,
I
and you
can't-
get all worked up because
I do. Well, I can't even tell you how many people don't even know that we vote at these meetings.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they don't even know what the town hall
Right.
meetings are, and it's crazy because they're fun. Have you been to our town hall meetings?
No,
Oh,
I'm one of
Bob,
them. No, I'm one of
Bob,
them. No, yeah.
They're so much fun.
I've actually watched them, but
Oh my God!
I've never been.
No,
to,
you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go. You sit in the auditorium. I mean, it's hysterical.
everyone's yelling at each other.
It's not even like the yelling, like the people that come up there, the characters, they come up and like, the things that get discussed and, and
Yeah.
it goes quick and you're voting and
Yeah.
it's just, it's entertaining. It's a really good time.
Yeah.
I really, no, I mean, I might sound like I'm like weird or whatever, but it really
no,
is. It's
no,
like,
no.
I feel like
You're
I'm on Gilmore
passionate.
Girls.
You're passionate.
Well,
Unless that's what we need. You need passionate people who say, "Yeah, I'm at that meeting. I'm at everything because it's fun." You're the only one I've ever heard that said that a town meeting was.
well,
fun.
if you've actually like,
I
if you
know,
go,
yeah.
like the people there, they're like
They
they're
love it. They
They're,
love
but they're
it.
interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
And the things that they're debating over, you're like, seriously, is this really happening right
Okay,
now?
I
And then
can
they're
believe it.
like,
Right.
and then you're voting ayes and you're voting nay, and
Yeah.
then it's like, and then you have that one guy out there that's shouting nay for everything, and you're
Okay,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just it's an event.
yeah.
Like it's an event.
Drake's politics has always been a soap opera to me. I used to tell my wife, she used to get mad at me. Why are you watching that selective meeting years and years ago? I says, that's the best
important.
best program on
Yes.
TV. I says,
Think about how the town meetings are.
oh, yeah. I don't know. See, I'm not a politician.
I know.
And as I say, I've always had 3 jobs. I'd get up at 5:30 in the morning, go to work. I used to work at Wang, then go teach Taekwondo, and then do whatever else I was
Yeah.
doing, right? Printing or whatever. And then I have my son or my daughter's sports that I'd have
Yeah.
to.
It's only twice a year. Trying
No,
to get them
I
to move it.
know,
I'm trying to
I
get them to
know.
move it to a weekend. It's twice a year,
Yeah.
and it stinks because it's Monday nights, and it's like right right after dinner when parents are like putting their kids to bed, which actually causes, believe it or not, a lot of the problem in getting things passed because, especially for the schools, because a lot of parents can't attend,
Right.
and then you have a lot of other people that are there that don't necessarily have the same interests, for the kids, and a lot of things get voted down, and it's unfortunate.
And I'm debating in my head to throw this out, but I'm going to throw this out there because
Oh, jeez.
because of your passion. Well, it's a good.
All right.
I would never throw.
Listen,
something.
I have no.
Yeah, you're ready for anything.
Nah,
I would never
I'm ready.
debate you.
I'm
Are you
good.
great?
I'm good. Bring it on.
You should have some type of little show on DATV, just with your passion, a half-hour show or an hour show, and get some guests on and get people involved like yourself, because there are many like
Yeah.
yourself, but there's not many in town.
Yeah.
But that type of show where positive, it's a positive show where let's get going, let's push it together. The ATV's right here.
I love that.
Isn't
I
it
should.
great? Isn't that a great idea?
It's funny. I was like going on. I went on the what is it? The WCAP 980.
Yeah.
with
Warren Shaw, yeah.
And Jerry Nutter, and
He's a
it
good
was
guy.
it
He's
was
a good
great.
guy.
He's
Oh,
awesome.
he is a
I
good
had
guy.
a great time. I was like, I love this. I want to go on radio all the time. I like talk. Well, I like talking, but I mean, you've met my grandmother, so I like talking.
Well, it's funny because, I
Well, so
know
you-
your whole family,
yeah.
but I got to watch what I say. I want your father on this show. Me
He
and your
needs
father
to
have.
come. He's in town now. He's back.
I know he
He's
is.
back.
I didn't ask him. I texted him the other night,
Oh,
and I
awesome.
says, "Hey, are you back?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm back. He's working at the
And at the Indian Ridge Golf
Indian
Club.
Reg." I says, "All right," and I didn't go. I didn't say I need you on the show.
Oh, how awesome. He'll love it.
You'd be golden.
Oh God.
But Mr. Muse out there, you tell him, you say, I'd like a show. He'd have one
Aw.
oh yeah, that's how you work
All
it.
right.
It's GATV. We'll talk after.
Okay.
And boy, you'd have a great show. You notice you're vibrant. You have a passion. You have to have the passion. I don't know how anyone could go on any of these committees, school committee, selectmen, or what, unless you have a major passion.
You have
and
to.
you love it. You got to love it, and you got to love doing the homework. Because, as I say, you must put hours of homework in.
I do.
You've
My
got
husband
to.
wants to kill me. He's
No,
like-
you've got to.
But he's so supportive. I have to say, I'm really lucky. Like Nick is fantastic. He supports me in everything I want to do. You know, any job I want to do, any endeavor I want to do.
Yeah,
He's I picked really well.
You did a good
So
job.
I did a
yeah.
really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. So
Well, it's your passion, and he wants you to be happy. A happier wife is a happy life.
yes,
You
it
know?
is. He knows.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. We're getting close to wrapping up, and I just any final things you'd like to throw out at the world and.
I don't know. I'm
it's-
just excited. Come out and vote. Come out and vote.
Yeah,
Saturday,
yeah,
May
yeah.
7th. I mean, you'll see me out there holding my signs. I'm jumping
I'm
around.
gonna.
I'll be waving them on the corner this Saturday by
Yeah.
Hannaford.
I'm usually up in the mountains, but I'm gonna see if I can hold a sign for you. I really will.
Oh, thank you.
And my buddy Phil Tebow, I got to talk to him
Yeah.
if I can. If I can, I might throw myself out there one night before,
Yeah.
just so that people can see me and stuff. And
right.
I know a lot of people in Drake it, and but I've taught half of them Taekwondo.
I appreciate that. It's so funny. Alex really wants to do Taekwondo. And
Excellent,
My
yeah.
dad was like, "No, you gotta wait," because he was a little young.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
People want him too young.
he was
yeah.
a little young, and he's like, "No, not yet." And then right when he was ready to sign up, the pandemic hit,
Oh,
and we were like,
yeah,
"Suck!" And I'm
shut
like,
it right down.
so now he's good. Now I'm like, I gotta get him down to United
Pelham.
Taekwondo and Pelham. I
Yep.
gotta get him down because
Boys.
I'm like, he's
Oh,
he's got the bug.
They're full
really-
optional right now, and
Really?
Mr. Shudo, he's got a whole thing with the kids program. He does stuff with them too, and just the school. Everyone comes in, and just work together. That's the type of school it always was.
Yeah.
All ages.
No, I loved it.
Everyone, and
Well, you guys did it right. I mean, you guys trained. You trained under the best. So you
yeah,
guys
God
did.
bless his
Oh,
soul. Yeah,
you guys- you
You
did it
heard
right.
about Grandmaster.
I know I did. I'm so
It
sorry.
was only a couple of years ago, but yeah, and who would think a man with that great shape and stuff,
Yeah.
in great shape, and
I feel like everybody has their time. It's just is what it is.
yeah, that's for sure. And as we're all getting older, some of us are getting older.
I know. Hey, listen, I'm no spring chicken
Yeah,
anymore.
come on. Well, it was so. I had so much fun with you on the
Oh,
show
thank
today.
you.
And I really wish you well.
Thank you.
And
Loved being here.
and so what are you saying? Wednesday is live.
So Wednesday, April 27th,
Right.
it's 7 p.m. You can come down in person to Harmony Hall, or you can watch it on DATV is going to broadcast it, and it'll be recorded, so you can watch it afterwards.
Right.
So it's going to be the selectmen, the school committee, and the moderators are going to be debating. So I didn't know this. This little tidbit for you. We have 2 moderators running. One's an incumbent.
Right.
I didn't realize that the moderator is the sole person to appoint the finance committee with no oversight.
Imagine.
That is
Wow.
scary to me. So
Yeah,
this
why would
person
that be?
I don't know, but I think it's wrong. But this person that you're literally
Yeah.
voting for has sole authority to appoint your finance committee. So choose wisely, because
Wow.
that is huge. And I'm like, and we've got 2 people. And this guy's been unopposed for so long, and then now we have one other person running. And
Yeah.
I
never knew that.
No, that's crazy. Like things like that. There's no communication. Things like that. Like
I drive
How
by and I
important.
see moderator sign, and I go, "What does he do?"
right,
don't know.
except be really boring at the town meetings when he stands up there. I didn't say he's boring, but like he runs the town meetings, and you're like
That's all he does.
That's it. Like we're literally voting for this guy for this. Like
No, I never knew that. So
yeah, no, it's important. So
you're a bundle of information.
Well, thank
You
you. I
got to get it
try.
out there.
I try.
DATV's the way to go. I'm
I
telling you
know,
right
I
now.
know,
We
I
got- I think we got something going on here. That'll be great. Yeah.
All right.
That's it, Alyssa. It's
All
a
right.
full hour, and I'm exhausted.
went fast.
Yeah, I didn't.
I wore
thank
you out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone, get out there and vote for Alyssa Nazaro.